What's up? What's up, guys? What's up, ladies? What's up, everybody? Episode 4 of the Frame of Mind podcast. We're breaking down the Big Ten today. Big Ten is a great conference, historic conference. Some of the greatest games, some of the greatest teams have come from the Big Ten. But first and foremost, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing all right about yourself, bub.
Good, man. Obviously, breaking it down. First segment. Let's take a step back to last season. Michigan was the Big Ten champion. After
Mhm.
defeating, I think it was Purdue in the championship game, convincingly, actually. I thought that
Mhm.
was actually going to be one of the closest championship games last year because Purdue had a wide open offense, and I was like, anything can happen when you run a spread offense in my eyes. So I thought they
Mhm.
were going to do it. Michigan fell in the playoff to TCU. I think shocking to all of us. Uh, but um, but nonetheless, we're talking Big Ten, and in their conference, they are the defending champs. So going into this season, what you think? You know what I'm saying? As far as the Big Ten, you know.
I mean, this year's going to be a transitional year. You got to think after this year, you're going to get UCLA and USC next season. So I'm not going to say this year is irrelevant, but I think this year could be interesting. You got a lot of good head coaches. You got a lot of good teams. I'm not going to say it's up in the air. I think the favorites are the favorites, but I'm confident. I think a lot of teams that struggled last year are going to come out swinging this year. I don't know if they'll contend for a East or West division, but I think it'll definitely be interesting. At least a lot more interesting than it has been because the last 5 years or so, it's always been Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. It's the same every single year. Now, obviously, like I said before, it's going to change next year, but I think this year will be interesting for sure.
Okay, yeah, man. Like I said, I think conference would be interesting. Like I said, Michigan is defending champs, so they're the top dog. But Ohio State has something to say, man. That rivalry seems to every year decide who's coming out of the East. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think they tired of Michigan winning. I think last year kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, which I don't think you should fire Ryan Day. I don't think that's like
No, it's consistently good.
yeah, I don't agree with that. People talking about he's in the hot seat. I don't believe in that at all.
No.
But I do believe that defensively they should take a step forward. And some other teams that I'm looking at, aside from the top dogs. I would say Penn State, but I don't really consider them because they win all their games until they play Michigan and Ohio State. They
Yeah, and they
always,
lost their senior quarterback too.
yeah, see what I'm saying? So I don't really pay attention to them because until they beat both of those teams, like every year or in one year, then yeah. But even if
Mm-hmm.
they beat Ohio State one year, like on the last play of the game, and still end up losing to like someone else. You know what I'm saying? So it really didn't matter because you already lost. So you're not even going to the national championship game. So, but they did go to the
Mm-hmm.
Rose Bowl that year, which was pretty cool. I think they ended up losing to USC. I think it was Darnold's last year there.
They
So
still have a really good head coach, man.
yeah, man, I actually
Head coach
believe
good.
in James Franklin. I believe in James Franklin more so than a lot of people do because he's a good coach, man. He's really just building up. I think, like I said, I think he's some skill players away. I think he needs like some difference makers, either at the quarterback position or on the defensive line.
I
Someone
would say
that's gonna
so.
make a difference, every single day, every single Saturday. So, but like I said, good program, great coach. But I'm looking at Maryland, man. That's one school that I'm looking at to take a step
Leah.
forward, because they got Tua's little brother. He's coming back for his senior year. So I'm excited to see if he can really get them to where they're going. I think Coach Mike Loxley, who's a former Bama assistant, I think that was the spot for him. He recruits very good in that area, which is really why we got Tua in the first place. Because why they got Tua in the first place. I mean, or Tua's little brother to be exact. Because he trusted him. He's like, hey, I got to start my program somewhere. Why not take this guy? So I think so. I'm not sure if Raheem Jarrett left yet, but Raheem Jarrett's
He
definitely
got drafted, I want to say.
he got drafted.
I think he did in one of the middle rounds. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he got drafted this past year, this past April or whatever.
Okay, okay, no, that's fair. That's
No, that was his top target.
right, right. That's what I was saying, man. If he got drafted, then he's not there. But if he is still there, that would be awesome for Maryland offensively. So I mean, they have a tough task going through Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, anything's possible, man, if you can play some offense and some defense. So any given Saturday, anybody can get it.
He did get drafted by Tampa Bay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was bugging me. I needed to know.
Okay. Well, he's not gonna play. He's not gonna win anything. But anything's possible. Anything's possible. But another team I'm looking at is Michigan State, man. That's an
Yeah,
interesting
Mel Tucker.
storyline. Yeah, Mel Tucker, man. His first year there or second year, they win 11 games or so, something like that, bowl game. And Kenneth Walker is your Dope Walker Award winner. And you have some good success, right? But last season just seemed like they just fell off the map. You know what I'm saying? And
5 wins.
yeah, yep. See, so they fell off the map. Whether it be defense or offense, they just weren't good at all, man. And the game against Michigan was a laugher, if you want to say that. That wasn't close at all, to the point where the players were joking they were joking at the press conference, you know what I'm saying? And then I think they had a fight last year too. So after the game, so that doesn't help, you know what I'm
It's a
saying?
good rivalry.
Yeah, I mean that's a good rivalry, you know what I'm saying? But you fight during the game, man, not afterwards. And the game was it was trash, to quote the young generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was trash, and you shouldn't even be fighting. You should just went home, because you didn't come to the game. But that's an interesting storyline because another struggling season for him, and it's a hot seat for him. I hate to say
Oh
it.
yeah,
I really, really like Mel Tucker. He's come a long way, but he is gonna be on the hot seat, man. They gave him that big extension after that big season he had a couple years ago. So they want to see some return on their investment. So I think a struggle season, I think it's definitely gonna be on the hot seat for him. And then the last team I'm interested. That's an interesting storyline. Is Nebraska, man.
with
Uh,
Matt Rule.
yeah, Matt Rule coming there is very very good, man, in my opinion, because he has a very good track record of rebuilding teams. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, knows he got fired from the Carolina Panthers, but that's just pro ball, man. It's just how it goes. I don't really think that he was bad or whatever. I don't think that the Carolina Panthers were good. And I think, they wanted to kind of, I guess, just, stay even kill. Like they knew they were going to be bad. So it wasn't terrible. But now, it's time to go in a different direction, which is fine, whatever, right? But I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't put that on him, more so than anything. But going back to his college career, I mean, track record at Temple, he's a winner there. He's a winner at Baylor when they were going through their tough time. Rebuilt them, kind of made it a little easy for Dave Aranda, huh? He left the
You're
cup
right.
full, didn't he? You
A
know,
little bit.
yeah, so Dave Miranda, had a lot to work with, you know what I'm saying? So I expect Matt Rule to really rebuild Nebraska. I'm not saying they're gonna win championships or whatever, but I think they'll be respectable. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Obviously, you got your diehards that want to win championships every year, but I think for them, just getting back to respectable football is key. You know what I'm saying? So
Building a culture and identity.
exactly, exactly. Just the culture. I don't know what Nebraska football is at this point. I mean, do you know what Nebraska football is right now? I
I
don't
know
really.
what Nebraska football used to be.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
I
So,
don't know if they know who they are right now. To be honest with you, I mean, I think he's a really good recruiter. Like you said, I think if anybody's going to rebuild him, I think he will. But the bad thing is, when he was at Baylor, he was in the Big 12. This is the Big 10, and the Big 10's definitely a tougher conference. But I think they can definitely compete in the West. I mean, the West is wide open in my opinion. The East is more congested with the couple of teams that are always there. You know.
yeah, you're right, man. I forgot they were in the West actually. So, I mean, anything's possible in the West, man. Because what Purdue went to the title game last year. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but we'll get into the conference championship predictions because I'm interested to see what you see about that. But closing out the storylines this year, like I said, my expectations for Nebraska are actually pretty high, man. Under Scott Frost, last couple years, I felt like he took that job thinking it was gonna be like it was when he played there, and that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? In a different conference, man, different kind of players, all kind of different things. But you know what? The fight in the team was there. I just because they didn't lose many games by a lot of points. They weren't getting
Hmm.
blown out, anything like that. So the fight was there. It was just, the maybe the message was coming across different. You know what I'm saying? It was
Hmm.
like coming into that this last year before Matt Rule took over, I thought the message probably got a little stale. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we were fighting team, but it just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? I hate it because he's an alumni and a really, really good player for them.
Hmm.
I hate it for him, but like I said, Nebraska is definitely like a sleeper team for me coming into this season.
You know one team who I'm looking out for?
Yep, go ahead.
Wisconsin.
You know what?
They got Luke Fickle. He's coming in to be the head coach.
That's
They got
true.
Tanner Mordecai coming in from SMU. He can sling the hell out of the damn ball.
That's
The
true.
guy's got 20. He's got 24 starts under his belt. He's a Davy O'Brien finalist. 2 year starter, over 7,000 yards passing and 72
I
touchdowns in 2 years
forgot.
at
I
SMU.
forgot Luke Fickle was there. I forgot. I would have put them up there.
I could definitely see Wisconsin shocking people.
I
Obviously,
think he did too,
Wisconsin's a good football school, but they have a really good quarterback, and I think Luke Fickle will do a good job over there.
especially on defense, man. Like
Hmm.
Wisconsin doesn't need a lot to win. Like their blueprint has kind of been the same since the 80s. It feels like
Pretty
80s,
much.
90s. Like it just they run the ball, and when they play good defense, they play good defense. You know what I'm saying? So
I
uh
think they might open it up though this year, dude. If you got a guy who can sling the rock like that, let him sling it.
true, man. But I mean, I don't know,
Because
man.
you got to think he's coming from Cincinnati too,
And I mean,
and he's had,
but I don't
yeah.
think he lost his roots though. In terms of like his Big Ten, because Luke Fickle played in the Big Ten, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he loses his Big Ten roots at all. I think because at Cincinnati, although they passed the ball a little bit, their running game was really really good. They had a guy from Bama on their team, Jerome Ford, and he single-handedly was the reason why they almost beat Georgia in that Peach Bowl a couple of years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
and he got to the playoff. Was that not last year, but the year before? So he has that under his resume as well. So I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with him getting that job. You know what I'm saying? Being able to get Cincinnati into that playoff as a group of five. So Uh, I like Wisconsin a lot now that you mentioned their quarterback situation because I think that will help. That affected them last year a lot. So,
Well,
um,
Graham Mertz was inconsistent. He wasn't a bad quarterback, but I mean, to compete with those teams in the East, you need a guy who can go out there and open your offense up if need be. Because obviously, like you said, they're gonna run the ball. But if you have that second option to be able to go down the field quick, there's your guy.
Yeah, like I said, man, I think today, man, quarterback play is like the biggest thing, man. And I don't think you win without a good quarterback in any league. We talking Sun Belt Division 3. I don't think you win without a quarterback nowadays. So
Quarterback's essential. It can't
yeah,
just be, yeah, you can hand the ball off every time, but your quarterback's gonna have to drop back and throw at some point.
yeah, you don't have to throw because when the game is on the line and you 4th and 4, I don't think you're running. I mean,
Typically, no, I
you,
wouldn't think
you would
so.
have you would have some stones if you ran on 4th and 4
It might be
to win the
stupid.
game. You got some stones to do that, man, because that's tough. To 4th and 4,
Mhm.
man, and you're a running team and they load the box on you and you still run, man, that's tough.
You got some balls. That's for
But
sure.
yeah, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. But yeah, man. Like I said, we're getting to this next segment, but to close out the last segment, man, storylines in this league are definitely pretty good. I think this league, I think Big Ten's gonna be real interesting, man. Like I don't think it's gonna go as easy as people think. I think some teams are gonna lose, and I think some teams are gonna win some games that they're not supposed to. And
Mhm.
I think that's gonna change the conference a lot. But moving in this next segment, man. Top returning players this coming in this year, man. I think
I
uh
mean, what you
I
got? You
think
can go first.
oh no, you go first. Go first, man. Go first.
Right, let's see. So, I mean, off top, I mean, JJ McCarthy's probably got to be number one. I mean, of course, he's only got about a season under his belt, but I mean, to say they benched their quarterback they had before, he's obviously transferred out. I mean, he came up really clutch. He can throw, he can scramble, he can make plays. Obviously, he does have a problem turning the ball over in big moments. But I definitely think that he's someone to look out for, as well as how you said Talia as well. I think Maryland's going to be a dark horse out of the East this year for sure, in my opinion. I think he's a playmaker. I think they're going to fly under the radar and stun a lot of teams.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else that surprised you? Anybody else so far? This
I mean, they still Ohio State still has Trevion Henderson, huh?
yeah, I think he's in his junior year this year. I think so. I think he's
Then I'd probably say Trevion Henderson because you got to think they have a quarterback with little to no experience, and I don't know how much Ryan Day is going to put the ball in his hands to make plays. Trevion Henderson's a good player. I think he'll definitely get a hefty workload this year. They have great receivers too, but I think they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, every year, every year they got good receivers, man. That's ridiculous how many good receivers they got, man. But I think the top dog this year, man, to me is Marvin Harrison Jr. Man,
Yeah, that is a
he,
breakout.
he's the top dude, man. NFL draft people talk about him being one of the best receiving prospects in a long time. So he's top dog, man. I think they go as far as he go. You mentioned the inexperience at quarterback for them. Um, uh, like I said, your quarterback's best friend is a run game, but it doesn't hurt to have a 6'4" receiver that can do everything either, does it?
That's
So,
true.
so I
I
think,
mean, if they put him in the right position. I mean, Harrison's going to get the ball regardless.
man,
But if they put the quarterback in good positions to win, he'll definitely do well.
yeah, man, just like I think Ryan Day is gonna simplify things for him. I don't think he's gonna have too much leash. I think he's gonna kind of maybe one or two reads and maybe do some read options or whatever. But I think his stuff's gonna be simple. They're not gonna overload him. But shoot, man, the way these freshmen, young quarterbacks are coming into college football now, you can give them a bigger plate. They can handle it because these systems are similar. to how they run in high school, and they do all of these open leagues and everything. So it won't surprise me if the quarterback plays out of his mind because he could be prepared. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
having Marvin Harrison and Travion Henderson, as you mentioned, doesn't hurt at all. I mean, you're a young quarterback and you have a stud receiver and a stud running back. Like I said, I don't think that's really going to do anything. But next guy I'm looking at is Blake Corum, man, from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Michigan is a running school. They run the ball a lot, so they just need adequate quarterback play. But last season, what's his name? JJ McCarthy. Is that what you said his name
Mm-hmm.
was? Obviously, his ability to throw the deep ball helped them beat Ohio State last year. They hit a lot of big plays against them. So, and I don't think they win without his ability to hit the deep ball, you know. So, but Blake Corum coming back, you know, is almost a 1,600 yard rusher. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have that stability. I would love to know how that knee injury is affecting him. Uh, but
Mm-hmm.
but if he shows no signs, man, of slowing down or whatever, I think he'll be a main cog in their system, man. And they have another running back that's really good too. And I think he came back number 7, Don or something like that. But if they have that two-headed monster like they had last year, I think they could easily beat Ohio State, you know what I'm saying, 3 years in a row, which I don't think has happened in a very long time. So, but he's definitely a big piece of that. If he can do what he needs to do, I think he's good, man. And one more person that I'm thinking about is Hudson Card going to Purdue, man.
From
Uh,
Texas, yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, I saw some good things from him at Texas. You know what I'm saying. I don't think he would be able to compete with Quinn Ewers anyway because Quinn
Mm-hmm.
Ewers is just a uber quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's just really good, man. I'm sorry. He's just that guy, right? And it's hard to beat a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you remember Clemson back in the day when Trevor Lawrence first got there, Kelly Bryant was the guy. But
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is just that guy. So Quinn Ewers kind of that situation kind of reminds me of the same thing with Hudson Card at Texas. You just can't beat a guy like that, man. Talent is just too good. You know what I'm saying? You're a great player as well, but you know you're not that guy. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the fan base wants the guy, the new guy in there. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's hard to do that. And another situation that kind of reminds me of that is Georgia and Justin Fields. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that situation, you know, was reversed, you know, vice versa,
Yeah, him and Jake
because
Fromm.
exactly. So obviously, you know, Jake Fromm, you know, didn't do anything wrong. And Hudson Card really didn't do anything wrong. But you can't deny that new guy a chance to really kind of assert itself. And it cost them a national championship game, if you ask me. Because I think if you let Justin Fields play, I think his dual threat ability might actually have helped their run game a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to watch him too. You know, you just throw the ball right over your head, you know. But Hudson Card transfers to Purdue. Purdue loses their head coach. He goes to Louisville. Obviously, I think
Mm-hmm.
taking over Bobby Petrino or something like that, or maybe somebody else. I'm not really sure. But he goes to Louisville, and they get another coach. So Hudson Card can really help his draft stock going to Purdue, and I think they're not gonna be a downhill. They're not gonna be a spread team for real. I don't think so because I think their offense is the head coach they have is the offensive coordinator from Illinois. So Brett Bielema coaches at Illinois. So he ain't passing the ball too much. So I don't think they passing the ball that much. I think they're gonna have a tougher team. And I don't like I said, I don't know if they making noise like going back to the championship game, but Hudson Card's a good guy, and I really kind of want to see how he continues to grow. Because I saw some good things, like I said, at Texas, and I think with this opportunity, he can really flourish and hey, make some money. You know what I'm saying? I always say that what I'm saying, you can make some money by playing really good. You know what I'm saying? And people may count you out, but it only takes one person, one team to fall in love with you. And there you go. So like I said, I think he'd be good, man. So uh like I said, any other players that kind of bring any other players that kind of stand
I
out to
think
you?
you kind of touched base on the guys that I was gonna. If I had any more, I think you kind of touched base on the guys I was gonna go back to.
Okay, okay, nah, cool, man. Nah, just trying to get break the conference down, man. Like I said, I think it's a great conference, and I think returning players that we mentioned, I think gonna have big seasons, man. I don't think teams win. I don't think the teams that we mentioned win without those players, So
Agreed.
yeah. So let's get into this prediction for the conference championship game. You go first, man. Go ahead, man. What you think from East to West? What you think?
So I'm gonna probably get a lot of shit or a lot of flack for what I'm gonna say. I don't see Ohio State making the title game. I think it's gonna be something different. I think it's gonna be between Maryland and Michigan in the East. I'm high. I think I'm really high on Maryland. I think they got a lot of momentum. Obviously, like you said, they lost a number one receiver, but you have a guy who's a playmaker. Maybe not the same kind of prototype as his brother, but I think he's a winner. Although I think I'll take Michigan out of the East. I don't think Maryland's going to make it easy. I think Penn State will be in there as well. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Ohio State loses games, but I think they're going to lose certain games that won't allow them to have that opportunity, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And to be honest with you, the Big Ten is kind of a cannibalistic conference, man. Like at the top, they beat everybody. So they get to decide the champion, right? But at the bottom, Michigan State will beat Maryland, Maryland will beat Nebraska, Purdue will beat Penn State, and then you just have a bunch of people just eating each other up to the point where Michigan and Ohio State the only ones that's undefeated, and then somebody coming out the other division. So but
Yeah.
like I said, man, it's pretty cool, man. All right, so
I think Wisconsin comes out the West though.
okay, so Wisconsin out the West,
I think it'll be
and
Michigan, Wisconsin, and the Big Ten title.
Michigan and Wisconsin. Okay, all right. I like that. I like that. Somebody coming out of the East besides Ohio State, but Michigan and Maryland. All right, I can see that. I can really see that because Maryland, like I said, Maryland is they have a experienced quarterback, Tulia. So like I said, I like that. I like that a lot. That made me think a little bit. I was like, man, Ohio State, like other than Ohio State, man, really? I ain't think.
Call
But
me an Ohio State hater, but it's time to stop the box. I mean, I don't think they're guaranteed to be at 11 and 1, 11 and 2 again this year. I don't think they lose anything more than 4 games. 4 games is almost blasphemy to say, but I genuinely think Michigan's gonna come out the East with Maryland riding their coattails. I think Penn State will be right there.
okay, all right. So my prediction for the conference championship game is actually Ohio State coming out of the East, man. I think that they feeling that pressure, man. It's been a long time since they lost to Michigan, like 3 years in a row. So coming into that point of the season, having multiple losses, man, that would change my whole prediction, right? If they lost a couple games, right? But since everybody's undefeated at this point, since the season hasn't started yet, I just think that they don't want to lose to Michigan at all. But I think they could slip up, like you said. Looking forward to that game. Like that, the game before they play Michigan is crucial in whatever conference championship picture they want for themselves. Because whoever
Mm.
they're playing before that, could probably sneak up and get them if they looking ahead of that. But I just think
Mm.
athlete for athlete, player for player, I just think Ohio State's a good squad, man, and they just have too much for Michigan this year. You know what I'm saying? Even with a young quarterback, but I think the running game, like you mentioned, and they have this I don't know his last name, but they have this defensive end, and he single-handedly destroyed Penn State by himself. A couple interceptions, touchdown, anything, forced fumble, whatever you want to call it. He was a game wrecker. So I think he's kind of going to be the nucleus of that defense moving forward this year. And I think that's going to help them beat Michigan and ultimately get into the championship game. Because if they play like they play, nobody's beating them. And it comes down to Michigan and Ohio State. And I think they get it. Now, as far as the West is concerned, man, that's just a conundrum of teams, man, that could really beat each other because shoot, Northwestern was in the Big Ten championship game a couple years ago,
And
and
1-11 last
yeah,
year.
yeah, 111, right?
They
So
got a good coach. Pat Fitzgerald's not a bad coach.
no, not at all, and I think that's why he's safe. I don't think he's going anywhere because I think he played there too. Actually, to be honest with you, so
I think so.
so yeah, you know what I'm saying. He's an alma mater guy, so if anybody can fix it, I think it's him. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they make some noise. You know what I'm saying? So, but my winner is Illinois, man. I think they're coming out of the West. I believe Brett Bielema has something there. You know what I'm saying? I was upset that Lovie Smith was there because he was such a good coach in the NFL, and I was like, man, I don't like him there. You know what I'm saying? But I like what he did there. And he left some good players. And Brett Bielema just implemented his hard nosed, blue collar way of coaching, man. I loved him when he coached in Arkansas. And I loved him when he coached at Wisconsin. I think that's where he was. So uh, I like what he did at Illinois last year, man. They really did some good stuff, man. I think they beat Penn State earlier in the year. Like I think when they introduced the new overtime rules. You know what I'm saying? They actually played a good game against them. And they ran the ball, man. Their running back went to the league, obviously.
Mm.
So that's gonna change some things. But one thing I know about Brett Bielema offense is that it's gonna running backs or it doesn't, man. As long as you don't fumble and you move forward, you can run in that offense. So I think it'd be good, man. I think losing the offensive coordinator is gonna be a question mark. But like I said, I just think they're tough enough on both lines of scrimmages to really just run through that division. I don't think anybody has what they have up front. And as far as winning the championship game, I just think if Ohio State gets there, they're going to win because they just have too much. But
Mm.
I will say this though, it's going to be a tougher than people think. I don't think it's going to be a wash like last year. I think if Illinois gets there, and it'd be tough up front, but like I said, I just think Ohio State just has too many of those.
Too much firepower.
Yeah, too much. So that's my winner, man. Ohio State, man. Ohio State versus Illinois championship game, Lucas Oil Stadium. So yeah. So uh, that was nice, man. That was good. That was nice. That was a nice prediction, man. You surprised me a little bit. Definitely, definitely. So like I said, now we get into our favorite segment, the best segment of all segments on any podcast, the top five segment of Football Frame of Mind podcast. The top five segment today is top Big Ten head coaches of all time. Top five. Now, this is like I said at the beginning. This is a historic conference. It has so many coaches, man. Gosh, when you go through the research, these guys, like so many guys, man, and it's guys that won't even get on the list. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see, man, who you got.
All right. So at number 5, I got I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Bo Schembechler from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
He coached from
Okay.
69 to 89. The guy's got a record of 194, 48, and 5, 13 conference titles, top 25, 24 out of 25 years.
Okay.
Consistent wins. Didn't make it to win a national title, but just, I mean, 13 conference titles, that's a lot, even
Yeah.
for that time period. So I've got him at number 5.
Okay.
Number 4, you might have him higher. I've got Urban Meyer at 4.
Okay.
83-9 at Ohio State. Got a national title with
Hey,
Ezekiel Elliott.
83 and
And he got
9.
83-9 at Ohio State.
Wow.
Yeah. Good record, just maybe not as much longevity as some of these other guys. Like I said, he does have a national title at Ohio State with Ezekiel Elliott. He does have 3 Big Ten titles to go with that. So, I mean, still really impressive. If he had been there longer, it would be way more impressive. But obviously, we know he had got an opportunity to go to the NFL, and that didn't happen to pan out. But respect still.
Okay. Okay.
Number 3, we'll go Jim Tressel. A
Okay. I like
94-22
him.
record.
I like him.
He's a 1-3 in national titles. I mean, obviously not great, but I mean, one title is better than no titles. And
Controversial
his OG
championship.
team, his
Controversial
OG team
championship.
that won the Natty, they went 14-0. So I think Jim Tressel was a really good coach, really good coach at all levels, especially at Youngstown State. Won a few division, I think 2 titles down there as well. So I've got him at number 3.
Wow, Youngstown State. That's like Ohio too. So he's just like an Ohio guy, huh? Yeah.
He's probably. I think they had him as like the most winningest coach in the state of Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but
Gosh, man.
something to think about.
Yeah, but not to cut your list off, man, but that just kind of makes it understandable why he dominated in Ohio State as far as recruiting wise. Because like
Guys wanted
nobody,
to go.
yeah, nobody was gonna go. The top players only want to go to Ohio State. So yeah, and then he would know all the local coaches and everything. So he just had
hmm
a really good thing, man. Man, I ain't
The
know that.
thing, like I said, he went 94-22, bro. That's a damn good record. You can't go wrong with that.
Stupid.
Uh, Number 2, I got Joe Paterno.
Oh,
Longevity. The guy coached from 66 to 2011.
yeah.
409 victories, 2 national titles in 82 and 86, and 3 Big Ten titles. The guy's a legend. Obviously, there's controversy around his name, but I'm not going to speak on that. But as a head coach and from a football perspective, the guy's one of the greatest to ever do it. He's got the most wins in FBS history. The guy knew how to recruit. The guy knew how to coach. The guy knew how to get it done.
Yeah.
Uh, and at number 1, they had a guy from Ohio State, Woody Hayes, from 51 to 78. Guys, 205, 61, and 10. Got 13 Big Ten titles and 5 national titles. Obviously, a lot. I would say a lot before our time, but I mean, dude, stats speak for themselves. 5 natties and 13 conference titles. I mean, you can't deny greatness, regardless of what era it was in. You got to think you're going from the 50s, a really just handoff, no throw at all, going into the late 70s where the offenses started opening up a little bit, the quarterback positions changing. They're starting to throw the ball a lot more. I've got him at number 1. I mean, national titles don't lie, regardless of what era you're in. I'll take him at 1.
Yeah, because like I said, the national title scene, even back then, man, it's not it's not like today. Obviously, you got different publications or whatever that give their national title winner, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you're still gonna have to play the best team in a bowl game. You know what I'm saying? So even though you beat everybody in your conference, you're still gonna have to play, Bear Bryant's Bama, or you're gonna have to play maybe another great quarterback or a team like that, like Pittsburgh or something like that, with Dan Marino at that time. You're gonna have to play a team like Georgia with a Herschel Walker going into the 80s or whatever. In the 60s, you got like people like I want to say Roger Staubach, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to play some good players going into, the championship picture. So the fact that he's got 5 of those, I think speaks dividends for how good he really was, man.
Sure.
So but yeah, man, great list, man. Wow. Tressel. That really messed me up a little bit. I was like, man, I forgot how good he really was, especially with that Heisman, Troy Smith. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm. That's
so
another. It's another accolade you could put on there.
yep, yep, most definitely. So um So my top five list, man. I'm actually gonna combine Urban and Tressel at at five. Because both of them, had success and really the same amount of success, if you ask me. Um, Urban obviously rebuilt that program after leaving Florida. Wasn't even I wasn't even gonna question his ability to coach, man. It was just how long he was gonna do it. And while he did it, man, I think that's what 90% win percentage he had. National championship, probably the biggest upset in the college football era. Ohio State over Bama that year. So to get them boys ready to play and change the course of our team flat out. That game really did. And as far as Tressel is concerned, Tressel, man, like you said, consistency, always winning. I think he had an 8 game win streak against Michigan. At that in that particular time frame, Michigan couldn't catch a break against him. He was not playing. So I put them two at five, man. Those two really did some things. Championship apiece, really good players. I don't think Urban got a Heisman winner, but a whole bunch of draft picks though, by the way. So both of them, by the way. So five definitely. So four, I'm gonna go Barry Alvarez, Wisconsin, man. Um, obviously he had success as a head coach, but to win Heisman with Ron Dane, he coached them. He won 2 or 3 Rose Bowls. So consistently they were winning, and he actually continued his Wisconsin lifestyle as the AD. And
Mm-hmm.
they haven't missed a beat, man. They've been in a couple Rose Bowls as the AD, so he knows what he's doing. He's hired some good coaches, Paul Chris, Brett Bielema, to name a few. So under his watch, man, Wisconsin football hasn't gone anywhere. They've always been in the picture in the Big Ten, and so I like him definitely for man. And fun fact, he fired the coach and then coached the team in the bowl game, and they won. so he came back and coached, man. That was pretty fun to actually read. Probably Barry Alvarez number four. Number three for me is Lloyd Carr at Michigan. Lloyd Carr has some really good teams, man. Obviously, he ran into Jim Tressel. I think he ran into Jim Tressel at Ohio State, and it was tough to beat him, man. But he did. He beat them. He ended that 8 game win streak with them, and his big highlight is the '97 national championship, and he coached the only primary defensive player to win the Heisman, Charles Woodson. So I think that deserves some things, some accolades on my list, man. To let a guy that is really good, just let him flow, man. Let him do his thing, And I appreciate a coach for doing that, and he just kept Michigan in the picture, man. I think that consistency to me, definitely, and he did it kind of in a short time frame too. Like he only coached from like the '90s to like 2000 something like that. So not like the other guys, like we're talking like 20 years or so. But he definitely did his thing, you know. So actually number three, obviously Lloyd Carr did his thing. But number two, Joe Paterno, man. Like I said, championships, he got those wins, he got those. Obviously the controversy at the end of his tenure kind of speaks volume, but like I said, I won't really get into that like you said, man, because I don't think it's worth getting into because if we're talking football, it speaks for itself. He did his thing. Obviously, 2 national championships, 82, 86. But the team that should have won was that 99 team with LeVar Arrington. And I don't know if Kijana Carter was, but definitely appreciate him and what he did, man. Longevity, like so long, man. Gosh, to coach so long and to be so good for so long and the line.
Mm-hmm.
players, everything just to come through that school, man. I think when you think of Penn State, you think of him. Like he has to be on a Mount Rushmore because he's probably the one that built it. So, great player. I mean, great coach, man. Great man, and definitely he'll be missed, man. Sad that he passed away like right after getting fired, man. He never really got to see where his program went after that, but he put a lot of sweat, blood, and sweat and tears in it, and got him two championships, man. And he did his thing. So, but 1 and 2, I think we got the same ones. Paterno and then Woody Hayes at Ohio State, man. Like I said, the win percentage is there. Obviously, had a good record against Michigan, a bunch of conference championships, as you mentioned, and the 5 national championships. Man, speaks for itself, man. To win in that era, man, to have like good teams constantly like that, and to finish the deal, and to be the best teams like that. I think went a long way, man. Cementing his legacy, man. People don't understand Big Ten history for real sometimes. But him and Bo Schembechler had a really good relationship, man, as rivals. And but they went back and forth, man. But those games were really good between them and Michigan. So
Mhm.
for years they went back and forth. So hey, I like to see that two coaches that have a respect for each other, but want to win. You know what I'm saying? But I like that a lot. So Woody Hayes, man, a lot of good players, good championships, good win percentage. Number one on my list, man. So we had number 1 and 2 together. That was pretty cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, man. But yeah, great list, man. Great show. Big Ten, exciting conference. Look forward to kind of seeing some games on ESPN and really, really seeing what they got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So episode 4, I think we did real good today. I hope all our subscribers, all our viewers, love what they see, love the content we put out there. So anything you gotta say before we get out of here, bro?
Well, we've covered the ACC, not the ACC, the SEC and the Big Ten. Next episode, we're going to break down the ACC, quarterbacks, coaches. We'll have another top 5 segment, but we're not going to give that up yet. That'll be a surprise. Just be patient. You guys have a good time, and feel free to comment if there's things you like, things maybe you like to see. Drop comments in the comment section.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get out of here.
Let's roll.
All right. Later.
Later.